Hi everyone. So today I will give an online presentation entitled Designing a Research Proposal. I am Zul Ilham, the coordinator of Environmental Science and Management Program from Faculty of Science, University of Malaya. My email is ilham@um.edu.my, and today we're going to talk about how you could design your research proposal, and hopefully it will be useful to all of you. A little bit about myself. I did my undergraduate degree in University of Malaya before, Alhamdulillah, obtaining scholarships to further my studies in Kyoto University, Japan. And my research field is biomass science and bioenergy. Uh, in the research field myself, I've completed supervision of 2 PhD students and 9 Master of Science students, and several students are still under ongoing supervision. So I am actively supervising students in order for them to, generate their research proposal and also submitting their research work. And you could check my CV at the link below. So the structure for my presentation today is that we will start with what are masters and PhD, what are this degree and the journey that you are embarking upon. Second, we will follow up with what is writing, what is research proposal, and what should you include in a research proposal. I believe you are more interested to hear about what should you include in a research proposal. So there are a few. We will start with title, abstract, introduction, literature review, research questions, research objective, significance of study, research scope, research and limitation, materials and methodology, preliminary findings if available, Gantt chart and timeline, budget, references, and points to ponder. I hope that everyone will bear with me throughout the presentation. So what are masters and PhD? Masters and PhD is actually, apart from obtaining the degree, it is a training of your mind to be asking questions and to be inquisitive at the higher level of understanding. And the main criteria for an original recognition of research are new contribution to the body of knowledge and recognition of peers. There is a term called scholar, sarjana, a learned person. In order for you to be a sarjana, you have to undergo this process. And again, I will reiterate again later on about this new contribution to the body of knowledge and recognition of peers. But those are the two criteria that are very important for in order for you to achieve masters and PhD, because without new contribution to the body of knowledge and without the recognition of peers, then you won't get masters and PhD. So what is writing? In the old days, writing used to be pen and paper, where we jot down everything, wherever that we see, we hear about some information, we will jot it down with pen and paper. But now, writing is insert, delete, cut and paste using your computer or your laptops. So it is an evolving process, a dynamic process. So for technical writing, essentially systemic writing, it is systemic writing that pertains to any specific art of discipline. In modern usage, it commonly refers to writing relating to science, engineering, humanity, and technology. The importance to master English in scientific communication cannot be overemphasized as well as be overlooked. Why? Why do we need to master English in technical writing? So, what is the language of science and technology during Socrates' years in the 5th century before Christ? So, we might be wondering, what is the language of science and technology? So, throughout the years, despite the pervasiveness of English in all the disciplines today, This has not been always the case in the course of history. Science and technology language started with Greek language, followed by Arabic in the Al-Andalus civilization, where the first university in the world, University of Qarawiyyin, now it is still existing in Morocco. So from Greek, it evolved to Arabic, and later on Latin and modern European languages. And the World War II, the winner decides it all. So the Allied forces won. So whether you like it or not, English is the language of science of technology today, and you need to master it in order to master technical writing. So what is research proposal? Research proposal is actually your plan of research. So it is part of application to your master's and PhD program to assess your potential. So uniquely in University of Malaya, in the submission process for you to apply for your master's and PhD program, you need to attach together your research proposal. I'm not sure about other universities, but I think most universities in the world, they will require you to upload your research proposal together with the application process. And it could be simplified to two parts. First, explain the what, questions you want to answer, outcomes that you expect from your research. Explain the why you want to study the topic, why it is significant and important to be studied. So it is being used to assess the potential, quality, and originality, and to let you use your critical thinking and assess the feasibility of your research project. And in addition, research proposal is a document to showcase your expertise or knowledge in the field of study, significance level of your study, should the university or research group invest in your proposed project, to show your passion in the research field. And PhD, especially, is a long journey. It is a marathon. It requires persistency. Both skills and resilience are needed. So normally, this is the flow chart which I've constructed. Uh, so you start your master's and PhD application with research proposal, and then you receive an offer letter. So in some cases, the research supervisor do not agree. So if they agree, it will go to the faculty high degree panel, and they will suggest a new research supervisor. So it will go to research supervisor agree, and then you have to revise your research proposal. Of course, you have submitted, you have done work in order to prepare your research proposal for the application process. But your supervisor, when you talk to him or her, then they will have their own idea, or they already have an existing project where you can click into. So you have to change some aspect, maybe title and objective, and refine literature review methodology, budget, timeline, and some supervisors ask you to apply for research grant and finalize proposal, prepare your PowerPoint. And even in this process, if you need to go back, sometimes you have to change the title again and the objective again. It's an ongoing process throughout the first semester while you are taking the research methodology course. Most universities will require you to undergo research methodology course in the first semester of your master's and PhD by research. And at the end of the first semester, after you have finished the research methodology course, then you go to the proposal defense, where you have to do a presentation in front of a panel of assessors. So each university has their own different way, but this is just the general approach so that you can actually understand, oh, you need your research proposal, but then for the application, but then you also have to refine tune it in the first semester so that you can defend it in the later on in the first semester. So remember, your research proposal is less for its robustness. It is for you to show your critical thinking skills, basic idea that you have done the background work on what you want to study, and clear direction and objective that answer to the research questions, and it must be achievable. You have to use appropriate methods, verified, doable, and you have to understand the level of understanding needed to achieve masters and PhD. So what should you include in a research proposal? It varies in format between universities, but approximately around 3,000 words. So normally in most universities, but not limited to, as some universities have eased their requirements or increased their requirements. But normally you will need a title, abstract, introduction, literature review to identify your research gap or to show why you want to pursue that knowledge. Research questions or hypotheses, it depends, but in science, normally we use research question. Hypothesis is suitable normally for social science and humanities. Research objective, general, specific, research scope and limitations, materials and methodology, preliminary findings if available, and followed by Gantt chart, timeline and milestone, and we'll end it with budget and references. So for the title, you have to be concise, brief, but comprehensive. And I'll show you some example of titles here. For weak titles, preliminary observation on the production of plant growth hormone by selected heterotrophic and autotrophic rhizobium strains and how it changed the wheat plantation farmer's choice of fertilizer. So I've revised this weak title into good title. Evaluation of plant growth hormones production by selected rhizobium strains and its effects on wheat growth index. The second title that I've shown you here is Optimization of Oil Mixtures and Design. So I've revised it to be Optimization of Ethanolic Transesterification Ultrasound Assisted from Oil Mixtures Utilizing Box-Bacon Design. So in order for you to understand more about it, so this is the original title, this is the revised one, and the remarks. For the first title, it is considered weak because long title distract the real highlight of the research. So you have to remove unnecessary redundancy, selected heterotrophic and autotrophic. You have to be specific, but then if you include everything, so you can just put selected rhizobium strains. And for example, you can simplify how it changed the wheat plantation farmers' choice of fertilizers into effects on wheat growth index. So for the second title, Optimization of Oil Mixtures and Design, it's too simple. Yeah, you have to be brave, but then you have to be comprehensive. That's the challenge to do it actually. But then, so we revise it into optimization of ethanolic transesterification, ultrasound assisted from oil mixtures utilizing box banker design. So you have the tools that you use, you have the process, and you have the feedstock or resources. The title should be specific as well as informative. Put yourself in a reader's perspective. What type of title you'll be interested to read? Is it too simple or is it too long? Right? So how to it? The title should be followed by an abstract. So how to write an abstract? So it is a brief summary of the research proposal, normally around 300 words, but varies among universities. Some require only 150 words. An abstract should not have citation to references. It is a very brief summary of your key research topic, the reason why, hypothesis, methodology, and expected output. It is independent so that you can read the abstract without having to go through the whole research proposal, and you could understand what the research is what related about. So introduction on the other hand is normally longer with citations to references, but not too dense like a literature review. So how to write introduction? Introduction is normally longer than abstract with citation. to references. So the difference is that introduction have citations to references, but not too dense like a literature review. In a very few paragraph of your proposal, you need to clearly and concisely state your research questions, the gap in the literature your study will address, and the significance of your research and the contribution that your study made. So we already reviewed about title and followed by abstract or introduction. So those will be followed with literature review. It depends on supervisors. Some supervisors would like to have the literature review really condensed, really long, but some just would like to have a view of it, a brief view of it in the research proposal. But later on, in the thesis, of course, we want it to be elaborated. So literature review is a term associated with the process of collecting, checking, and reanalyzing data from the existing literature with a particular search question in mind. So it should define a specific issue, concept, theory, or phenomena, compile, publish literature on the topic, summarizes critical points of current knowledge about the problem, suggest next step in addressing it. This is what you plan to do in your research proposal. So in brief, you are writing literature reviews to review previous literatures and current literatures so that you will find a research gap, something not being done or something not being addressed or something should be addressed that you want to proceed in your research proposal. Uh, Back to what I've told you, in order for you to achieve masters and PhD, you need two things. First is contribution to the body of knowledge, and the second one is recognition of peers. So again, when you review all the literatures and you see that there is a research gap, there is something that hasn't been done or could be improved, then at this point you are suggesting it in your research proposal, and it could be considered as a contribution to the body of knowledge because it's something hasn't been done. It's something has been done but need to be improved, need to be addressed, need to be critically studied. So it helps you identify your research gap. So literature reviews can be based on all sorts of information found in scientific journals, books, academic dissertation, electronic bibliographic databases, and the rest of the internet. And this literature review, I will explain a little bit in a different video. So for it, this literature review will be followed by research questions, or some universities would like it to in a paragraph in a problem statements or hypothesis in some research. So based on the title of your research and research gap found in the literature review, you have to start developing your research questions. It must correspond to your research objective. So if you have three research objectives, so you must have three research questions because research objective is answering the research question. So your research objective will have to answer your research question. Some research may need you to develop a theoretical framework at this point. So normally for research objective, you will have a general uh, research objective followed by a specific ones. So number of research objective it differ between supervisors. It depends on the depth of the research, but normally for master's degree, there are three research objectives, and for PhD it's from 3 to 5. And it starts with the word to followed by an action verb. So the choice of action verb is sometimes being done by checking the Bloom taxonomy, the next page. So some verbs are better to be avoided, such as to appreciate, to have faith in, to know, to learn, to understand, to believe. So although to know and to learn is listed in the first level of Bloom taxonomy, but I think it should be better to be avoided because they are often used but are open to many interpretations. Like to appreciate, to know, to learn is something very vague. And so as you can see in the Bloom taxonomy, from level 1 to level 6, so you can see the action verb that you could use in your research objective to characterize, to count, to define. So this is level 1. So normally from research objective 1 to research objective 2 and research objective 3, it will increase from level 1 to level 6. So as you can see, the action verb in level 6, the highest degree of Bloom taxonomy, is something like to argue, to choose, to conclude, to criticize, to decide, to describe, to evaluate. You see, something that you can be used in the action verb in your research objective. So the research objective will be followed by significance of study. It will show highlights of your study, how your study is important to the stakeholders, why the study is important. It will later be followed by research scope and limitations, saying the general purpose of the study, the population of sample that you are studying, how many samples that you're going to use, or the duration of the study, the topics or theories that you will discuss, and the geographical location covered in the studies. So we have gone through quite a few, and materials and methodology are very important in science research. You have to show proven methods from literature to help you achieve your research objective. I've told you that research objective answer to research questions, and you need materials and methodology methods that you are going to do in order to achieve your research objective. So if you are going to develop a new method, describe the conventional methods commonly or currently used. So you would like to develop a new method. So if not, if you are using an established method already being developed by somebody else, already being done, so you have to cite the literature. So you may include figures and flowchart in this process. So preliminary findings, if available. So if you are on fast track straight to PhD program, don't look down on those doing Master of Science, because while doing your masters, you are actually already training your mind to be in the research area. So you might have preliminary data that you could feature and build as a basis that you can work on towards your PhD. So it's going to be an advantage if your research proposal have an additional data from the preliminary study. So it is something that is possible to be done, something that is doable. So I've shown you an example of my own Gantt chart for a research project. So in my uh, personal experience, I normally put the Gantt chart, timeline, and milestone in the same figure, where on top I will put the research objective. So as you can see, I've shown you my research objective 1 is to analyze. So this is the active verb taken from Bloom taxonomy, followed by research objective 2 to implement, and research objective 3 to suggest. So it evolves. First you analyze it, and then you implement, and then you suggest a new revised approach. So as you can see, I put it the flow chart of research activity, the start, experiment, setup, what kind of methods that I will use, and when I will do the analysis, integration, and the end. And as you can see, I do it in correspondence to the timeline. So as you can see, this is the plan, this is the milestone. Setup completed should be by August 2020. As you can see, we will move into the new year, and it corresponds directly to the research activity and also the research objective. So the research objective should end by September of the year 1. The research objective 2 should start and finish by May of year 2, and the research objective 3 will end it. So you have a milestone over here. So in order to make it complete, you can also list the milestone, whatever that you have listed here, down here, in order for you to explain your research activities. So you have to take it in a view that this Gantt chart, timeline, milestone, and also a research proposal as a guide for yourself, actually. It is a guide so that you won't go astray throughout the way of your research study, that you will go somewhere else because you didn't really have a guide, you don't have a statement on what you are doing. So this is just an example. There are many ways of doing your Gantt chart, timeline, milestone, and you could always discuss it with your supervisor. So as for budget, so you have to list all the consumables, filter it for sample collection, site visit or any research activities that incur expenses in the table. And discussion with research supervisor is important to ease the procurement and establish understanding on how to fund the research project. And the budget must be realistic and not superficial. If third party is involved, identify it earlier and describe the role in achieving the research objective. So lastly, you will need to put references and you have to refer to right citation style format used by university, whether it is classical Harvard, APA, MLA, Chicago, etc. And you need nowadays, we don't do it manually, and normally we use it the help of citation management software such as EndNote, Mendeley, Zotero, RefWork, or even Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word has its own citation management software, and you can enroll in classes offered by your university, higher degree unit, or library. My personal opinion, I love to use Zotero. It's kind of easy to use the features, but then it depends on user preference. Some people might like to use EndNote. And you have to choose good and reliable references to be included into bibliography list. I will further discuss it in a video in my literature review video later on. And I will also show you a little bit brief view on EndNote, Mendeley, Zotero later on. So just some points to ponder. So the research you describe when you write your research proposal might not be the same research you finally write up in your thesis. It evolved along the way. So this is not a typo. So the research you describe when you write your research proposal might not be the same research that you finally write in your thesis. Because along the way, you will find new things. After you analyze your data, you will discuss with your supervisor, and your supervisor will suggest new things. So it will evolve along the way. So your proposal is a guide, it's not a contract. So it is a plan for your research that is necessarily flexible. That's why it changes over time. You must be critical but realistic. uh, it depends. Sometimes students, they would like their research to be earth-shattering, so it become so superficial, and you have to get it proofread, and you have to watch your flow. Don't go into details too early. Gradually introduce detail as the page rolls on. And the best way of learning is by doing. So you have to start writing now. Only then you can have the draft, and then you can have a look at it. You can let the expert comment on it, or you can discuss with your proposed supervisor. So if you don't have it in hand, then you always feel like, oh, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. You just first learn how to do it, and you will learn throughout the process, I believe. So thank you and best of luck. And this is me after obtaining my PhD in Kyoto University. So I wish you all the best of luck and good luck in preparing your research proposal. Thank you.